Hi guys, welcome to today's webinar. This is Amazing Toying. We will be getting started in a few minutes. I'm just going to wait for others to show up. I'm going to have a countdown, in a few minutes. So I want to welcome everybody to today's webinar. Today's webinar is how to double your money. So I want to welcome everybody. We'll be getting started shortly. This is Amazing Toying. Welcome if you're just joining us. You are at the right webinar, how to double your money, and I want to welcome everybody to the webinar. Okay, we'll be starting in a few minutes. I'm just going to give others, a chance to come on in. If you have an accompanying download for this webinar, you should have seen it when you signed up. So I hope you downloaded it, you printed it out, and you'll be able to follow along for some of the things I'm going to talk about in this webinar. So I want to welcome everybody. So I'm going to get started in a few seconds. Everybody's settling down. Usually, when I go to these seminars, they say, well, turn off everything so you don't get distracted. Well, as far as I'm concerned, we're all adults. So if you come to this seminar and you don't focus and you get distracted, I don't know what to tell you, because this is very important webinar. And so when you come to something like this, you need to focus. And I hope everything else that could distract you is being turned off. So I want to welcome everybody. So I want to say thank you for coming by. So we'll get started. My name is Toyin Dawodu, and my friends call me Amazing Toyin because I've done a few things. Actually, I've done a lot of things that are amazing in my life, and you get to hear some of them as we move along in this webinar. So today's presentation is how to double your money. How to double your money. I'm assuming you all have money. And as we go along in this webinar, I'm going to show you guys, for those of you that don't have money, how to actually get some money, that you could double. Okay, so let's just keep moving ahead. So the topic of the webinar is how to double your money, right? How to double your 401k, your retirement fund, your savings account, and home equity. Now, when I say home equity, most of you are probably wondering, what is home equity? What I mean is that if you have equity in your house, right, and it's sitting there, I will show you how to double it, in my program. For those of you who get a chance to work with me later, because we got 45 minutes, and in this 45 minutes, I'm going to teach you a lot. I'm going to go through these slides pretty quick because there's a lot to cover. But obviously, I can't cover all of it in 45 minutes, but I'm going to do my best to give you an complete overview of what you could do at the end of this webinar. And for those of you that choose to work with me, I'll give you the opportunity to do that at the end of the webinar. Now, the other thing I want to say is this. If you stay till the end, I'm going to show you something that is going to blow your mind, how one of my clients was able to double his money within 6 months. Okay, this guy started with about $106,000. When he was done, he invested $71,000 into a property, and when he came out on the other end, he had another $73,000 profit. So he doubled his money, within 6 months. But I'll show you this gentleman in a minute. Now you're probably wondering, well, who is this guy? Who is Toyin? Who am I to be telling you all this? Okay. Well, let me give you a quick overview of me and what I've done over the last, 25 years. I've been a real estate investor for about full-time, about 15 years in full-time. I was dabbling a little bit before that. But at the time I got started full-time in real estate, I was actually broke. I mean, I was so broke, I had just filed bankruptcy. I had no money. I had been miserable for about 2 years. Eventually, I got off my butt and I decided, well, this is the only thing you know how to do. Why don't you get back in it? So I go back into real estate, and I mean, when I filed bankruptcy, it wasn't real estate that led me to bankruptcy. I had so many businesses, they were tough to handle. Eventually, everything went into the hell in a hell basket. Prior to that, I had started several different businesses, and I've grown most of them to at least $1 million each. So eventually, I found myself, on my back. I got up, and I started with only $295 credit, right? from my local newspaper. Based on what I learned, based on what my mentor taught me, right, prior to that, I was able to leverage this $200 credit to 450 properties. So I bought 450 properties over the last 15 years, right? And I bought them one property at a time, which means most of my properties are houses. So I bought the houses one house at a time. And each house has its own story. And so for those of you who might get a chance to work with me later, I will take you through most of the houses, the story behind it, and the psychology of buying them, right? In case you want to, do this at full time. But for those of you that are here, your goal is to double your money. And so you could double your money without actually buying property. And that's the topic of today. For those who want to actually buy property, that's a completely separate topic. So, so that's me. If you notice there, I got an MBA, I have an education. But let me tell you this, when I finished my MBA in late 80s, I couldn't get a job. I had to go and sell cars. So I was in the car business for 5 years. I'm glad I got in it because it taught me a lot of things that I later used in my other businesses. Okay, so that's me, in front of some of my properties that I bought. This is actually a wall in my house. I put the properties there so that when I, have a seminar, I can stand in front of the houses. This is one of my latest projects. This property, we picked it up, for about $120,000. At the time we picked it up, it was worth close to $325,000 at the time we picked it up. So at the time we picked up this property, it was worth close to $325,000. Okay, this is the property right now. We're not actually done because there are 2 houses on this property, so we're still kind of worked on it. We've been working on it for about 4 months. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, since this topic is about how to double your money, guess what? Somebody that financed this property is one of the people that I refer to as a private banker, right? And that's some of the things you're going to learn, how to become a private banker to where you're financing properties like this. This is my private banker right here, Bill and Patty. Bill and Patty, I will tell you their story later, in the webinar. They're the private bankers behind this property, and so they're making 12 to 15% return on their money. Now, if they had the same money in the bank, they'll be making 1%, 0.1%, 0.25%. Right now, they're making 12 to 15%, so that when we exit from the property, they will have close to $15,000, right? Because the objective was to exit in about 4 months, right? So that's a 22% return on their money in about 4 months. Now, that's more money than most people earn on $1 million that they have in the bank, or 500,000. They only have $200,000 invested in this property. Okay, and so when they exit, they're gonna get $15,000, which is 22% on an annualized basis. Now, it's possible, and I just demonstrated it for you right now with Bill and Patty, right? So in 1 year, they can earn 22.5%. Right? So if they deploy their money 3 times in a year, they will have $45,000 on their $200,000 nest egg, right? Now, one of my clients actually did it in 6 months, right? With my guidance. And so if you stay till the end of this webinar, right, I will give you a link where you could actually download what David did to where he was able to double his money within 6 months. So I hope you stay till the end of the month, and you will see a step-by-step process that I took David through to where he was able to double his money within 6 months. He started with $106,000. He put in $71,000. When he exited, he got about $73,000. Now, so you're probably wondering, who's a private banker? Well, it's you, it's me, it's the guy next door, it's the guy you see on the street. Anybody that has money today can be a private banker. Private banking, which is the same as lending, really, that's what it is. Most people that invest in trust deeds, right, or deed of trust or mortgages, private mortgages, are known as private bankers. And this has been going on for hundreds of years in the US, right, that I know of. It's probably going on around the world, okay? But here in the US, there are a lot of wealthy people that put their money in trust deeds only. They are able to earn more than they could make in the stock market, and they have a lot more peace of mind because they don't have to do a lot. They don't have to worry about the yo-yo of the stock market, right? So they focus on trust deeds, right? They make a lot of money. They're steady because real estate is not going anywhere. And if you know how to properly do this, right, you will have complete control over your investments. And that's the advantage of this process. So you might be wondering, how does the process work? What is the process? Well, who is the private banker, right? As I stated, it's just you and I, regular folks, right? But first of all, let me give you a quick example of what a bank actually does, right? Most of us think we just put our money in the bank loans the money, right? Do you know that actually a majority of your money that you put in the bank, right, actually goes to buy real estate? The bank takes your money, loan it to people that want to buy real estate, right? They use it to buy the real estate. They charge points and they charge interest. So they now package the loan, sell it out, and then they get to use your money again. So if a bank, say for example, a bank has $1 million deposits, right, that they got last month, they buy 4 or 5 mortgages, right, maybe $200,000 each. And those $200,000, if they charge 3 points, that's $3,000, right? So they got 5 loans at $3,000, that's $15,000 they made, right? Then they charge interest. So if they charge about 7% interest, they now package the deal, sell it off to somebody else for about 5%. They have to keep 2%. So if you add their 2% to the 3 points they already made, so the bank could technically make about $20,000 on your money, okay, within 2 or 3 months, right? So they make about $20,000, sell the loan off, then they get your money again to use all over again. So if they do this 3 times in a year, okay, so they got about $60,000, $70,000 made on your money. How much do they pay you? They pay you 0.1%, 0.2%. So you can see how the bank now use your money to make money, but they pay you nothing. Now, here's the question. Have you ever wondered, right, why the bank does not pay you half of the interest they make on your money or half of the points they make on your money? Because the government does not require them to do that. So since the government doesn't require them, why should they pay you? This is where private banking has an advantage because you determine exactly how much interest you want to earn, within certain limits. Okay, because there's this thing called usury, and we will get deep into that eventually if you become one of my students, right, or if you work with me one-on-one. But just enough that you're going to know right now, okay, can help you double your money within 3 to 5 years. So now that you're here, this is my big promise to you, okay? I'm going to show you the 3 secrets that you need to know to become a private banker, right? And to be very successful in this business, okay? So the secret number 1 is, how do you become a private banker? Number 2, how do you double your money? Okay, in my case, as far as I know, you could do it every 3 to 5 years. If you're very aggressive, you could do it every year, but you have to be super aggressive and you have to really know what you're doing. And then I'm going to show you how to actually broker other people's deals, your friends, your neighbors, people that you know, okay, so that you show them how to become private bankers. And then every deal they make, you get to share part of it because you're the one that introduced them into the program. That alone, number 3 alone, can make you another $100,000 on the side besides you deploying your own money. Wouldn't you like to do that? Now imagine, what does it feel like, okay, to have $200,000 on the side, okay, you're making $20,000, $30,000 on it, okay, on your $200,000 every year because you're loaning it out. I actually call it renting. The bank rents your money, so why not you do it yourself? So you rent your money out, you make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, right? And then on the side, you're brokering deals for other people. You make another $40,000, right? Now you could see, if you're retired, or even if you have a business, or you have a job, right? If you have money in your 401k, you could deploy this strategy to where you are actually able to double your income for the whole year. Say your full-time job pays you $100,000 or $50,000, but you have about 400,000 in your nest egg or your retirement fund, or 200,000, I will show you how to take that money, put it in what is called a self-directed IRA, right? Okay, to where you could direct it from there, tax deferred, okay, and use it to make money so that when you're retired, instead of your 400,000, okay, it's now 800,000. If you have 200,000, it's now 400,000 within 3 to 5 years. That's the promise I make to you today over the next 45 minutes. We're already about 15 minutes into this, so I really have to hurry up because I still have to go through a lot of slides. So please excuse me. Sometimes I tend to talk pretty quick and pretty fast, and I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying, okay? So let me ask you, is this webinar for you? Because if you don't want to make money on your money, if you don't want to double your money, right, then this is about time for you to get off the bus, right? Or get off the, well, I can't say get off the train, right? Because this train is really not stopping. We're on the move right now, right? And I want to show people that are really, really interested in making more money on their money instead of letting their money languish in the bank, in some annuity, in some stock that they have no clue what the stock broker is doing. They have no clue what's going to happen in the world the next day, to where everything might crash. Because when the world, any time there's bad news, stock market always go wild, go crazy. They call it volatility. I say going crazy. So is this webinar for you? Well, if you have an annuity, mutual fund, 401k statement, and you wish you could get a higher return one day, this webinar is probably for you. Do you have a fear that you might run out of money someday? Because the number one fear most people have right now is outliving their money. So you are retired, and 10 years later you run out of money. You are now 72. What are you going to do? Go get a job? Well, hell no. I mean, you're not going to get one, that's for sure, unless you own your own business. That's why I want to teach you this skill, so that if you know the skill of how to make money from your money, or how to make money from other people's money, right, then you are set for life. You never have to work for the rest of your life. So if any of those apply to you, right, then you are probably in the right webinar, okay? Or do you feel like your bank might be ripping you off by paying you 1%, right? Then this webinar is for you. Or have you actually bought into the myth that there's a limit to what you can make in your money? Because, see, we've been brainwashed to think that, oh, while it's safe, you should put your money in annuity, even though they're paying you, 0.25%, 0.3%, or money market account paying you 3%, but they lock up your money. I mean, when you get into renting your own money, you could be in and out when you want, and there's no penalty. In fact, the only people that pay penalty are the people renting your money. In other words, you could rent your money to somebody like me who buys and sells houses, fix it up, right? And tell me, hey, Tony, I'm going to rent my money to you for 6 months. If you pay me back in 3 months, I want you to pay a penalty, right? Can you tell that to your bank? Can you tell your bank, look, here's my money. I want to put it in a money market, and I want you to pay me 10% interest. The bank is going to laugh at you and tell you, hey, we're only paying 0.7%. So if you don't want to put your money here, then go someplace else. So if you are in that category, then this webinar is for you. Why is the bank paying 0.5%, 0.2%? Because they got tons of money. If you don't put your money there, somebody else will. So, but I tell people that are very smart, sophisticated, the bank should be just a place for you to write checks, to pay your bills. Any other money you have, you must put it to work 24 hours a day. So, I stated earlier, that's me again. This is one of my first books, okay? So I wrote this book called The Magic of Real Estate, right? The reason I call it The Magic of Real Estate is because real estate is magic. And if you've been in it, right, and if you really stay with me, I will show you all the magic you could perform, as a real estate investor, as somebody who rents your money to real estate investors. Because you could leverage, starting with 100,000, you could leverage $1 million, you could leverage $2 million, which is magic. Now, when you go into other assets, other investments, Very seldom can you use the same leverage opportunity you have in real estate. All right. And so for those of you, eventually, if you get to work with me, you will get an opportunity to get a copy of my book. I might even give it to you for free if you play your cards right. Okay. So you'll be wondering, out of all these 460 properties that I've bought, right, who actually backed them? Who backed all these investments, given that I started with only $295? It's people like you. When I started, I had to go to a money broker, right, who got your money, his money from people like you. So my money broker would now go to his client who are wealthy, right, get money from them, loan it to me, and he gets a spread. So for example, if I go to my money broker that I want to borrow 200,000, he will call one of his clients and say, hey, look, Tony's found a house. He's going to borrow 200,000 on it. I can get you 8% interest from Tony. My money broker now turns around, loans the money to me for 12%, right? So he gets a cut of 4%, just like that. Okay. Plus he charges me another 5 points. So all of a sudden now the money broker is getting 9%. The investor that rented the money is getting 8. So my logic is this. I said to myself, wait a minute, why doesn't the investor learn what the money broker does? Especially today, since the financial laws have changed, you don't need a license to become a private banker. So you could become a private banker anytime you want. In fact, it's always been like that. It's just that there is a little certain restrictions. But private banking for the longest has been available for those who know what the money brokers do. Now, here's one of my largest, money brokers, right? This guy has loaned me close to $10 million. And in return, I've made him over $1 million. I've paid over $1 million in interest to Bruce. Bruce is one of the largest hard money lenders out there. Actually, I call them hard money brokers because Bruce gets his money from people like you and then loan it to me. Now, here's the letter that I got from Bruce, right? Stating that I've borrowed $8.4 million and I've paid back $1.4 million in interest, right? In the last, I think I did this in about 8 years when I was actively borrowing money from Bruce. So if you notice, I paid 1.4 million, right? I was glad to pay that money because I got into most of these properties with very little of my money. In some cases, Bruce finances the whole deal 100%. So I have no investment in it. But at the same time, he always makes sure that he is protected, his investors are protected because the properties are at 60% loan to value. So there's always 40% protective equity in it, and that's the beauty of being a private banker, because you make sure that your investment is protected. And so since I was very good in finding properties that has that kind of protection, Bruce was always happy to loan money to me. And so part of the things I'm going to train you, if we get a chance to work on one-on-one, is how to find a rehabber like me, because you don't need too many. You need about maybe 3 or 4. Okay, if you got 100,000 to deploy, 200,000 to deploy, or 500,000 to deploy, you need 2 or 3 rehabbers. Okay, and to be able to evaluate them, right? And you need somebody like me to guide you so that you don't make a mistake, especially when you're getting started. Because once you get beaten once, you're going to be shy about deploying your money. And this business is so super safe. If you know what you're doing, you should never have to lose a dime. I've bought and sold over 460 properties, and I've never lost a dime because I find properties that need solutions. Okay, I resolve the owner's problem. In return, the owner gives me a lot of equity. That's the way it works. Now, so if you know who this gentleman is, he's one of the wealthiest people in the US, right? In the world, really. Now, the thing about wealthy people is this. Prior to the advent of technology and all those, they made their money in real estate. Today, they still make money in real estate because majority of them, after they make their money in any profession, business, they now park it in real estate, because real estate is about the safest asset you could park your money that consistently perform and outperform other people. So here's what Warren has to say. He says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep. You will work until you die. If you don't have a way to have your money working for you 24 hours, right, you'll be working till you die. So you got to be able to make money while you sleep. I mean, we only got 24 hours in a day. So if you don't have money out there making money for you, then you just keep working. So I ask you, what's your story? What do you want to do? Right? So here are the skills you need. You need, 4 skills, right? To become a successful private banker. Okay, these are the skills you need to possess. And I will teach you all of these skills as we move further in this webinar. But, like I said, we only got 45 minutes. I can't really teach you all, but I will touch on them to you where you actually understand what I'm talking about. Now, you have to learn the skill of creating money out of thin air, which I do all the time as a rehabber, as a buyer. So when you have rehabbers working for you, right, you have to be able to show them exactly what you want to get in return for your money. Okay, you have to be creative in terms of either becoming partners with them to some extent, right, to where you are able to increase your yield. So instead of getting 10% return or 12%, you could increase your yield to about 40% through some joint ventures with your rehabbers. You have to be able to have the scale of consistency, right, so that your money consistently grow. Right? If they're growing consistently, you'll be able to double it every 3 to 5 years. Then I will give you the scale of how, if you started with $100,000, how you could turn it into $1 million in 10 years, right? In about 10 years, you could turn it into $1 million through some special tax vehicle that you have complete control of. Now, if you see, look at all these pictures, you will notice they're all real estate, right? The reason real estate is so safe is that everybody got to live somewhere. Everybody got to work in some office. Even if you're not inside an office, you're in the train station, you're driving on the street, everything is real estate, right? So the question is, why do you put your money in real estate? Because you can't outperform, and have the same control in any other asset that you have in real estate. You can't do as much leverage in any other asset as in real estate. So, for example, in the US, there's over 130 million properties out there, right? 85 million of them are residential properties, 1 to 4 units. So as a private banker, you're going to get started loaning money on residential units, right? And there are 6 million of them sold every year. These 6 million of them are backed by some form of loan, right? Either through a bank or a private banker, right? 40% of them are actually sold cash. So when they say cash, it means there's no bank involved. But guess what? There's some private banker behind them. Now, they ask 1,000 US investors, right, to rank their top 4 investment vehicles, right? Guess what they say? Real estate was number 1, right? Then there was another Gallup poll, right, where they asked US adults to rank their preferred investment vehicles, right? Well, US still was still number 1, followed by cash, gold, savings account, bonds, right? But USAs is always at the top of everybody's mind in terms of safe investment, in terms of preferred investment. But a lot of people don't have the access or the opportunity or the training to get in it to where they have become successful. Well, I'm glad you're here because now you got all the training you want. So we went earlier, went over quickly how your bank works. Okay, so now that you know how your bank works and they put their money in real estate, right? If you learn how to do it yourself, will you still want to keep your money in the bank? If you learn how to do it yourself, wouldn't it be better for you to do it so that you make 10 times what the bank is paying you? Because right now, if your bank is paying you 1% on your money market account, and you determine based on your skill, okay, that you could do the same thing and make 10%, why wouldn't you take your money out? Because Warren Buffett says that the only time you take a risk is if you get involved in something you have no knowledge of. And that's why you're here, to gain the knowledge to where instead of allowing the bank to rip you off, as far as I'm concerned, because it's a rip off for a bank to make 30% on your money and then give you 0.1% or give you 0.5%. It's just so unfair. And so I want to teach you and show you how to tell the bank where to go. I mean, literally. So because guess what? Banks are not realtors. They don't buy property. They don't sell property. They just rent your money to other people. They rent your money, right? And they buy. When they rent your money, the property is backed by, guess what? Real estate. So a real estate backed loan, the borrower gives the bank an IOU, which is the same thing that you will get if you were a private banker. The borrower gives you an IOU, which is a promise to repay. Then you create another paperwork. It's called deed of trust, right? So the deed of trust is now what secures your money. So if the borrower were to default, right, you just call the trustee. They will send a letter to the borrower. If the borrower doesn't pay, they'll take the property, sell it, and give you your money back. You don't even have to do anything. That's the beauty of real estate. You don't have to go to court. You don't have to do nothing. The trustee does everything. And guess who pays for it? The borrower pays for it. Real estate is the only asset where everybody else, experts, come to help you, right? And you don't pay. I mean, you will see in a few minutes, I'll show you how all these experts converge in your favor. They all converge in your favor to help you, right? So most lenders invest in deed of trust, okay? And so how does the system work? How do you get in, and how does the system work? Well, let me show you something. You've probably seen an ad like this in your local newspaper. This came out of Los Angeles Times. I cut it out and took a picture of it, right? It says retired couple has money to lend, right? Well, it just happens that the people that put this ad are money brokers. So they get money from retired people, folks like you and I, or some that are not retired, that have 401k, that have cash, executives like you that are getting paid in their corporate job, right? And then they loan the money to people like me, rehabbers, right? In this case, they're offering 8.5 to 12%. Now, when a money lender is offering you 8.5 to 12%, do you know how much they're getting? So obviously, they don't do this for free, right? So they're probably loaning your money at 15, 20% to the rehabbers. And they're keeping, 6, 7, 8%. Plus they pay, the rehabber pays points. So now you'll see, if you learn what this money broker does, right, you could get all the profit coming to you. So you probably thinking, damn, Toy, I want to get in. How do you get in? But first, the thing that stops most people is fear. Because the government over the years have put the fear of, financial calamity in all of us, to where we're so overprotective of our nest egg. And so we let it lie there and not make money on it. We give it to the bank because the government promised that if the bank goes under, your money is insured. Well, guess what? In real estate, your money is insured anyway. Maybe not by the government, but there are laws that protect your money. Guess who set up these laws? The government. And since everybody is going to pay to get your money back, right, especially the borrower, and every other professional is going to help you do it, your money is just as protected as if it's in a bank. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Because when you loan money on real estate, you are so protected by about 40% equity that no matter what happens, and real estate doesn't just go down overnight. I mean, I know we had a recession in the last 7 years, right? 2008-9. But the people who went into real estate the right way, who knew what they were doing, who took the right training, who got the skill, didn't lose a dime. I didn't lose a dime in all the recession, all the noise that they made during the recession. So I'm going to teach you how to find the money, number one, how to grow your money if you already have it, okay? And begin to double it over, the time that we will work together, okay? So now it's time for you to find your money. So if your money is lying down in some savings account, some annuity, some stock market that you have no control of, who runs the company, it's about time for you to find it, get it out, and begin to grow it yourself to where you can use the system that I'm going to show you how to double it on a consistent basis. So if you have my phone ring, right? I mean, I get so excited about these things. Sometimes I forgot to turn off my phone. But let's just move on, right? So I want to show you the system where you consistently grow your money, right? How do you grow your money? Well, there's a process called the rule of 72, right? It's a rule that's been in existence forever. Basically, what the rule of 72 says is that It's a formula used to estimate how long it's going to take your money to double. So uh, if you're earning a certain amount of interest, if you divide it into 72, it will tell you exactly how long it takes your money to double. So for example, if your interest rate is 5%, right, it's going to take you 14 years to double your money. If your interest rate is 3%, it will take you 24 years. So if you got 100,000 in the money market account paying you 3%, it will take you 24 years to double it, right? If you get into the system that I'm about to teach you, right, you double it in 3 years. Do you want to wait 24 years or you want to wait 3 years, right? If you get 1% on your money, it's going to take you 72 years. So I'm sure you guys got the gist, right? So it's either you want to wait 72 years or you want to do it every 3 to 5 years. Which one do you want? Just imagine how much money you're going to have in your pocket if you're doing it every couple of years, right? Imagine all the things you could achieve. Imagine how much vacation you could take with your family. Imagine how much you could put aside for your children's education or just bequeath some money to your grandchildren. But if you let the bank keep your money with at 1 or 2%, then I don't know what to tell you, because here's an opportunity for you to do what is right for you, what is right for your family, and all you need is to learn the skill, and I will teach you the skill. Now, this is how the system works. Okay, I've been going pretty quick, right? Well, we're just barely getting to the meat of the program, but it's very simple because I told you how I'm going to teach you how to become a private banker. I hope I've shown you. You find a rehabber, right? Okay, the rehabber now borrows the money from you. In other words, you rent it to the rehabber, right? Then I'm showing you how to double it by negotiating with the rehabber, either in some kind of joint venture, right? Normally you get the regular interest of 10, 12, 15%. But if you want to leverage your money, okay, I'll show you a system where you could actually joint venture with the rehabber. So you become almost partners, right? Now, there are other things that you need to learn, like how to evaluate the project, how to fund the project, how to monitor the project, how to collect your payments, okay, how to hire all the experts that you're going to need, right? So all those things, all those uh, processes are what is contained in my program, where I actually take you by the hand and I teach you in a one-on-one over a period of time. Okay, and so for those of you who want to do that later, I'll give you the opportunity to decide if you want to work with me one-on-one to where I can actually teach you that program. Now, so how did I learn this? All right. Well, I had a guy that was an investor of mine that was loaning me a lot of money. So I said to myself, wait a minute, you know, if Jim knows this much, right, and and I know about the system that Jim uses, right? So instead of using a loan broker, Jim does it himself. So the moment I learned it, I said to myself, wait a minute, I should teach other people, because there's a way for me to give back. I mean, I enjoy buying properties, I enjoy investing my money, but I know a lot of people like out there do not have the same skill that I have. So I said, well, this is about an opportunity for me to give people, the same knowledge that I've acquired over the years. So that's why I am actually doing this. So I'm going to teach you how to identify, the best investments out there, the good investments. Okay, and so here are the markers, okay, of a solid real estate investment, that shows you how to double your money every 3 years or 3 to 5 years. So you got to be safe, okay. I'll teach you the safety aspect of it, right? Yet it has to be secure. The real estate or the asset, usually it's real estate, has to be secure. Now you have to make sure you are surrounded and protected legally, so that if anything goes haywire, which just like Murphy's Law, sometimes things does go haywire, okay? Nothing really is guaranteed in life, but if you know what you're doing, you will always be protected, right? And so you will have maximum protection, right? So that's all of these things are what my investors look at when they loan me money, and those are the things that I'm going to teach you so that you become a very, very successful real estate investor. So that when you investors um, uh, joint venture with you, right? You become almost partners. You're making money for each other. He's making money for you. You're providing money for him, right? You don't have to wait and give your money to some guy in Wall Street that actually sometimes doesn't know as much as you. Because according to Warren Buffett, Wall Street is the only place I know where people who drive Mercedes go to take advice from people who drive a Honda. Okay, and that's true because a lot of people in Wall Street, all they do is buy and sell stock. They don't even know what's going on inside the company. Do you want that, or you want to control your own investment? So my question to you is this: who should direct your investment? Who should? The financial planner, the hard money lender, the stockbroker, your bank, the government? Who should direct your investment? Right? Give me a yes on this chart, right? Is it you or any of this? Okay, good. You. Wow. So if you're going to direct your investment, you need a team. So part of the system I'm going to teach you is how to put a team together, right? So you're going to need a team of lawyers, brokers, insurance brokers, escrow officers, title officers, rehabbers, document companies, servicing companies. Now, this list looks like it's a long list, but guess what? In my system, I teach you step by step how to assemble this team. And when you assemble them, they're all happy to work for you. And guess what? You don't pay a dime. The borrower pays all their fees. So when you rent your money, the person renting your money pays all these professionals for you. And you just sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Now, you're also going to need a lot of paperwork, okay? But guess what? A note, a deed of trust, insurance policy, all those paperwork will be prepared for you by your professional team. Okay, the team that you assemble, and you give instructions by email or by phone call, and you call your lawyer and say, hey, prepare this. You call the escrow officer, I'm going to email you this. Can you prepare it, send it to John, who is borrowing $200,000 from me? I mean, this thing is so fascinating. You could put it on autopilot. So I say to you, are you ready to learn? Right? Are you ready to get into a training program that will now give you the skill that you could use for the rest of your life? If you already say yes on the chart, okay, so let's go. So I got this training program that can teach you all these processes, okay, over a period to where I get to work with you one-on-one, take you by the hand, okay, and in some cases, if you prefer, we will even join venture together. But once you learn it, you don't really need me because I will teach you to where you will be on your own. You will be able to stand on your own. But if you need me, I will be there for you until you become as successful as me, or if not more, right? I will teach you how to broker your own deals and how to actually broker other people's deals. Okay? So you will become not only a private banker, right? You also become a money broker. So what's next? Well, here's what's next. If you enjoy this webinar, okay, and you feel like, hey, you know what, Toyin, I would like to know more. Well, I've reserved the next couple of days for people that really want to know more, that want to get to work with me one-on-one, that want to take this thing further, right? So over the next couple of days, I will give you 45 minutes of my time in a free consultation where we map out a strategy that is specific to you, okay, to where you now become the master of your destiny. You control your destiny. You are driving your own vehicle, right? You are putting your money where it's supposed to go, okay? And we'll map it out. And then I'll give you the opportunity to get involved in my program to where I take you to the next level, and you'll be doing the same thing that David did, where he doubled his money in the next 2 to 3 years, okay? So this complimentary consultation, right? I call it consultation because it's going to take 45 minutes, right? It's absolutely free. There's no obligation. There's nothing to sell. It's just two friends talking one-on-one and trying to decide, okay, this is what you have. This is where you want to go. This is how you can do it. These are the things you need to assemble. Those kind of stuff. And if you want to take it further, then we'll map out how we can accomplish it. Now, this 45 minutes is so crucial, okay, that it's my gift to you. And you might be wondering, well, why are you doing this? Well, I'm doing it because if we get 45 minutes together and I show you things that really open your eyes, right, give you the opportunity to make a lot more money, right, well, the chances are we'll probably become friends. And the chances are you will say to me, Tony, I really want to work with you some more. What does it take? At that time, I will explain to you what it takes if you want to work with me a month, right? So I'm giving you this gift, okay? And this gift, it's free, but guess what? I'm giving you $750, right? You're probably wondering, what do you mean $750? Well, let me tell you this. My time is worth $1,000 an hour. And you're probably thinking, how do I arrive at $1,000 an hour, right? Well, if you go to an attorney, they tell you I charge $200 an hour, $300 an hour, right? Because they calculate their hours based on how much they make. Well, I regularly make $1 million a year. So if you calculate it by $40 hours a week, okay, it comes to about $1,000 an hour. Okay, but that will gladly give you 45 minutes, which comes to $750 of my time. So I want to invite you right now to click on the link that you see right here, amazingtowing.com//apply, or the link should be appearing on your right hand side if you're watching this webinar, or on the left hand side, wherever it's appearing. Click on it, set an appointment. Once you click on it, you will see my schedule. Over the next 2 days, okay, I've reserved time for a few people. So click on it, you see my schedule, book your 45-minute session, answer a few questions, because the reasons I want to have the questions answered is that when I'm ready to talk to you, I know exactly where you are, where you want to go, and what I need to do in order to help you. So if you are not serious about this, don't book an appointment, because you will be taking the time for people that are serious. So if you don't have the money to go further, I hope this information has been helpful to you. There will be a time when you have the money to go further or have a lot of money to invest. Just come back and then I'll work with you. But for now, I want to reserve the next 2 days for people that have the money, that want to take this further. I want to do something so that I can give them 45 minutes of my time to map out a strategy for them to where they can begin to double their money right away. So I want you to click below, amazingtowing.com/apply. Okay, it's free. Now, so let me tell you quickly, I showed you Bill earlier. This is Bill and Patty's story, right? Bill says that after working 30 years, I knew it was time to retire because, this guy, he was tired. I had accumulated $500,000 in retirement fund. He was working for Verizon. So over the years, the returns have not been great. And so when Towing opened my eyes to the world of real estate trust deed investments, I knew I can retire comfortably, take my money and control my destiny without even buying a single property. So far, I'm averaging 12% return on my money, and I sleep like a baby at night, knowing my investment is safe. So that's from Bill. Here's David. Now, David, I told you earlier, doubled his money within 6 months, right? When I first called Towing, I did not realize he could perform magic. Well, what he has achieved for me seems like magic. I literally had to beg him to work with him, because he told me, David, I don't really have time for new clients, especially if you have not gone through my training program. I quickly joined this program, and within 6 months, I almost doubled my money. Let me repeat. I doubled my money. At no time was my money at risk. I started with $106,000. When the property I invested in sold, I got back over $60,000 plus my initial investment. Well, let me show you quickly what David did, right? This is the property that David came into, that I helped him invest in, right? This is the property after we were done fixing it up. That's it before. This is it after. This is the breakdown of David, right? When we got into the property, the after repair value, right, and you will know all those terms if you work further, it was $195,000. David invested in this property at $71,000. We put another $45,000 in it, right? When David exited, his profit was $73,000. Now, would you like to get a $73,000 profit on one deal? How would you like to get 63% return on your money in less than 6 months? Because that's what David got. Okay, so if you like to do something like that, I want you to click below, book an appointment, check my schedule to see if you're going to be able to get into my schedule, and I will spend 45 minutes with you, and I will actually explain to you what David did. Well, here's another deal right here we did, where my investor actually got 25% return on his money in 1 month. That's the house before and that's the house after. In 1 month, he got 25% return on his money. Even though he didn't invest a lot of money, he only put in $30,000 into the deal, right? But guess what? Look what he got back. In 1 month, he put $30,000. In 1 month, he got back $7,500, which is 25% return on his money. So if he does that every month, he will get 300% return on his money in 1 year. How would you like to do that? How would you like to get 300% return on your money? Well, I can't really guarantee that. I don't want to promise it. Each case is different. But through my aggressive, safe, skillful strategies, okay, you will be surprised what you can do with this system, what you can do with this process. So go ahead and book an appointment. Let's talk and see where you can go from here. Okay, the consultation is free, and I'm giving you $750 of my time. Now, here is Felicia. Felicia, I call my big sister because she's like my aunt, right? And you know, getting money from relatives is very tough because if you screw up their money, right, you get to see them every Thanksgiving and you never hear the end of it, right? So apparently my sister that retired 8 years ago has some money in its MetLife insurance or MetLife retirement fund, mutual fund, and they were only paying her $87 every quarter on about $30,000. So when he complained to me, he said, Tony, well, you're in real estate. I mean, can't you help me? Do something for me? So I said, okay. So I took 25,000 out of his, first of all, we moved the money into an IRA, I mean, self-directed IRA. So I helped her move the money to a self-directed IRA account. From there, she can now deploy the money, which we deployed 25,000 of it. And now she's getting 11 times what she used to get from MetLife, right? MetLife, she was getting $348 a year. With my process, she is getting $3,750 per year on $25,000 investment. And I know there might be some of you out there right now that have $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in the bank, and you're not even getting $3,000 a year. So don't you think it's time for you to do something? So if you want to do something, I want you to click below, okay? Sign up for a free consultation. Go to amazingtoyin.com/apply, okay? And let's get started and let's look at what we can do for you, okay? Now, so like I stated before, if you're not really serious, you don't want to take this further, you don't have the money to do anything, I understand. So don't take the room of somebody else who is ready to start, who has some money, who is really suffering right now because they're making only 0.1% return on their money, okay? So if that's your case, that's fine, just watch this webinar again if it comes out, right? And you will learn as much as you can, right? When you get the money, just come back, go to my appointment calendar. If there's room, I would be glad to talk to you at that time. But for now, the next 2 days, I want to reserve for people that are anxious, who are suffering right now, as far as I'm concerned. Because if your money is earning 0.1%, 0.25%, when you could be earning 20%, you are suffering. It's as simple as that. Somebody is taking your money, somebody is taking you to the cleaners, and it's time you get out of it and you control your own destiny. Okay, so I want you to click below and go to amazingtoyin.com/apply. Now, for those of you that stayed till the end, I did promise you that I'm going to let you download David's blueprint, right? So what David did step by step, you could download here at amazingtoyin.com/David, right? Read it, and if after reading it you get excited and say, oh, you know what, yeah, I really want to get into this. But if you don't book your appointment right now, I can't really guarantee you that you're going to get in after the next couple of days. Okay, so I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm glad you stayed till the end. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed this opportunity to share about 1 hour of your time with me. I really appreciate it. Okay, and I hope I've been able to impact on you something that is valuable, open your eyes to what opportunities that are out there, and that you are able to take advantage of it. So thank you for coming by. If you want to book your appointment right now, go to amazingtoyin.com/apply, and I'll see you guys at the top. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.